And now, stars, cars, guitars. With singer and international heartthrob Tony Hadley, legendary rock guitarist Jim Cregan, and our pilot of the airwaves, Alex Dyke. Stars, cars, guitars, the podcast. Coming up.
There's nothing like standing on a stage, opening your gob and belting it out and seeing people sort of go, oh, yeah.
This is where we move into the metaphysical, which is a bloody huge word.
Dear.
I just saw that written
Try
on the
saying
bottom
that
of
when
this.
you've had a Jack Daniels. It's been difficult times for everybody, but, you know, we're still here, we're still chatting. Jim's here.
Yeah.
I'm here,
Yeah.
you're here.
Stars, cars, guitars.
Yes, it's that time again. Stars, cars, guitars, just like the man with the sexy voice said. So, Jim, Tony, this episode may hurt just a little bit. I want to find out what has happened to you as far as 2020 is concerned, gig-wise. I know you're going to say absolutely nothing, but it must have hurt financially, professionally, and I suppose it screwed you up in some kind of way this summer. Jim, Tony, who wants to confess first?
I've become very good at gardening. A lot of gardening juices in my house. I mean, listen, how honest do you want me to be? How painful do you want me to be? If you're a musician and a singer, a performer, guitarist, whatever, actor, even the guy who plays a swan and bucket on a Friday night for a few quid or whatever, if you love playing music, the thought of not playing music and having everything cancelled, I mean, 2020, and I like even numbers, but I don't like these even numbers. And it was going to be a smashing year, coming up to the 40th anniversary celebration of myself being in the business for 40 years. And
Is that
we
all?
just, yeah, 40 years.
Only 4 years?
Only 40 years. Well, I started when I was 16, so you could say it was 44 years, but I signed the record deal when I was 20. So here we are, and, you know, we're being very honest about it. I've seen everything go out the window. And it's been pretty devastating. But, you know, you've got to think about those people that are in worse positions than you. You know, it is what it is, and we have to move forward, and we try and do other things, like this podcast.
Yeah, the podcast is fun, and thank goodness for the podcast, really, because at least we get out to express ourselves, we get to meet, we have coffee, we have a laugh, and we talk. But before we go to Jim, Tony, you've lost gigs and festivals in Britain, all your international stuff, just about. I mean, there may be one or two lingering, but I always think of you as a guy who has to sing. If you don't sing, you're going to go crazy. I know you do it for a living, but it's much more than that. You need to perform, you need to sing, you need an audience.
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny. I was listening to someone the other day, and they said they feel almost happiest when they're on stage. Now, I mean, one beautiful thing about this whole lockdown thing has been that I've been able to spend time with my wife and my two youngest children, which I've never been able to do with my big kids because I was always on the road. And to be honest, up until this point, I couldn't even do it with my little kids, Zara and Genevieve, because I'm always on the road. But I love singing. I mean, I get a kick out of singing. And I practice at home, and I've been doing up until just recently Sunday evening kind of songs that mean something to me. I've been doing lots of virtual stuff for you know, people trying to raise money for charities. So here's a song I'm singing, you know, and they put it on a kind of a sort of program. And
so your Sunday songs, that's your musical journey. They can be
That's the
seen now
musical journey.
on YouTube.
yeah, that's on YouTube. You can see them now. But there's other stuff I've done for cancer charities and children's charities. Things like, for instance, Shooting Star Children's Hospices. Just got together with Michael Ball, Ricky Wilson from the Kaisers, and my old pal Shane Ritchie. And just done a song each and recorded it at home as everybody does. And then someone puts it together and makes it sound nice. And we got Simon Cowell on there, Dame Jones Collins, Phil Glenister, host of others. And just a royal patron, Her Royal Highness Countess of Wessex. And so just trying to raise awareness and money for different charities. And
where can that be
that's all
seen?
I've been able to do.
Where can that be seen? Can you still see that now?
Yeah, I think you can still go to Shooting Star Children's Hospices, and you can see that, and there's an auction on there, and it's it's brilliant. And every charity's been in a real position, and they need to raise as much money as possible. It's been difficult times for everybody, but, you know, we're still here, we're still chatting. Jim's here.
Yeah.
I'm here,
Yeah.
you're here.
Have you got a studio at home? How do you, or do they send somebody out to record you?
No, do you know what? This is how I record my things. It's all completely real. I get some gaffer tape. Well, first I get a file box.
Yeah, a broom.
I get a file box, and then I put a piece of driftwood on top of the file box. I then gaffer tape my iPhone to the top of the driftwood.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I press the record button, and I sing into it and play the music through a little beatbox.
Okay. All
And
right.
so it's really
So highly
primitive.
technical, yeah.
Highly technical. No one else would be able to do it.
You've
because
never
I'm
heard of
not
it?
remotely clever enough.
I'll run a word by you now. Tripod. No. Tripod.
No, it's too.
Try
it's
it.
too-
Just try it.
It's
It's
too
hard.
complicated.
It's hard.
Tripod.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
too.
Go into
Jim,
a shop and say tripod, not the butcher's.
I'm not allowed out. No, honestly, my way of recording is primitive, but it works, and I adjust the gaffer tape accordingly, and there you go.
And move yourself around till you're in the picture.
Absolutely.
But you,
Okay,
Jim,
yeah.
you're in and out of the UK. You do a lot for Angel Force. That's your chosen charity.
Yep.
You haven't, before we talked to you about that, you haven't been able to do anything this year, really, have you? But you've done some stuff from home.
Yeah, I do. I've got a studio at home which doesn't have any driftwood in it at all. I've got 2 tripods, a mic stand, which is a very unusual thing for a bloke to have, especially Tony, and I can make records in my house. So that's what I do. And the guys in my band, we send like most people do, we send the stuff backwards and forwards. I put on a guitar for a song written by my keyboard player Sam Tanner, and Pat Davey, our bass player, I'll send him something. He'll put a bass on it and send it back to me. I'll mix it. And that way we're building up a new album for my band. And we do the same with the Americans who are involved in this Angel Force charity, which is a suicide awareness charity, started by a friend of mine in America called Anne Dunsmore. She came to see my band play a concert here in London just kind of when she was on holiday, and loved what we did and said, I'd like to bring you to America to do a fundraiser for this charity. And we said, sure. And we raised $200,000 on one night.
Really?
And yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's
and
incredible.
and I keep going back there and doing more. I write songs sometimes specifically for it, and we do to camera pieces where I talk about this. We invented this word called suisilence, and the idea is that because nobody really wants to, you want to clear a room, say suicide. All you people are about to switch off. It's okay. I'm going to stop in a minute. Suicide is one of those things that nobody really wants to talk about. It's too painful. And so we invented this word suisilence, which is the idea that when you don't talk to people who are at risk, somebody in your family, especially the veterans that come back from the foreign wars and are all messed up, one thing or another, you need to pay attention to them. That's the point of it, to listen to what they have to say and encourage them to talk about how they're feeling, because most people commit suicide without telling anybody much about it. That's how, listen, can you not come round Tuesday because I'm thinking of killing myself, right? That's not really how it works. It's much more difficult than that. So suisilence is a word we're promoting, and that's what this whole thing's about. That's what I spent most of my year since lockdown. I've been working on that.
So you can find out details of Angel Force online, of course.
Yeah, it's angelforceusa.com.
So, but you've been over there, you've been playing gigs in LA. I know you had
Yeah.
some planned from New York.
Yeah.
But what both of you are missing is the thrill of the live audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Tony, is the buzz from Live Aid or Let's Rock Southampton? So whether it's this many people, that many people, or playing in a pub, is the buzz different?
It's a different gig. I mean, Live Aid was probably one of the most nerve-wracking gigs I've ever played in my life, but brilliant. I mean, amazing, euphoric. When I'm doing the normal festivals, you're 15, 20,000 people out there, and they're all singing along, and
Yeah, it's great.
it is euphoric. Playing in a small club or a pub or something, it's a different kind of gig. It's a much more intimate gig, and you're not running around the stage like an idiot kind of thing. You just concentrate on what you're singing and what you're performing. But that's equally as brilliant, because as I said earlier, if you like playing and you love singing, there's nothing like standing on a stage, opening your gob and belting it out and seeing people sort of go, oh, yeah, it's all right. That's not too bad. He's not done too bad, that lad.
But what does it do to you inside? What is the buzz?
It just makes you feel so good. It really, when I come off stage, I'm always on it. Yes, that was a great gig. And being with your mates, I mean, me and my band, we've been doing Zoom things pretty much every week with my band and the crew. And we all go back a long way, and we all love each other, you know. And we're great friends, and a lot of us got little kids as well, so we've got a lot in common. And we've just missed that banter after the show, that glass of wine that you have, and that kind of slap yourselves on the back, go, God, that was a great gig, that was a brilliant solo you did there. Do you know what I mean?
The camaraderie
it's
is
that
really
camaraderie.
important.
It's like being in a football team. It
Yeah,
really
it
is, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're nailing it, when the crowd are singing every word, they know every word, and you're taking them on this fabulous journey.
Yeah.
What is the buzz inside like? Is it as good as, I don't know, windsurfing or even sex? Does it feel like that?
Well, I've never been a windsurfer, but it's so good.
Apparently, you've had sex at least a couple of times. You've
I had
got
a
some
couple of
children, haven't you? Yeah.
5 times.
I couldn't think of anything else. Come on.
No, but actually, it's a very good comparison because there's a few things that will give you the same sort of feeling of satisfaction, and great sex is one of them, and playing a great gig is the same. There's a moment when you transcend what you would consider to be your normal ability. Let's say for Tony, he might hit some notes or have a turn of phrase that he.
What do you mean might hit some notes? He always hits the notes.
No, he might hit the right notes.
There's been some times, Alex.
Let's say that he might hit the right notes occasionally, but no, there'll be a turn of phrase that he'll do that he pulls off absolutely brilliantly. It just sits exactly in the right place in the song, and he didn't know he was going to do it until he'd done it. And that's the same with being a musician. You will be inspired in a way that can only come from playing a live gig. The something transcends the knowledge you have. I mean, I have a lot of knowledge on how to play the guitar, which I've just built up over the years. I don't really know where it comes from, but sometimes I will play almost out of body because I didn't know I was going to do that, and then I've done it, and I went, bloody hell, where did that come from? And sometimes I've done things in the studio, and then I've got to replicate it on stage to some degree, and I go back and look at it, and I have no idea how I played it. I've got to figure it out.
Wow.
There's a whole area that's beyond your normal practice and routining and things.
It's not
you
easy
you move into another area which transcends the normal.
Okay,
that's where the big buzz is.
Okay, so what you're feeling by playing a guitar, is it exactly the same as what Tony's feeling when he sings?
Yeah.
We'll
I
just
think
have to
so.
do a body swap. Just sit there for a minute. We'll swap over now. I'll get inside his brain, and he can get. Oh my God, no, horrible. That's horrible. There's nothing like it.
Listen, as a singer, I'm a frustrated guitarist, drummer, bass player. I wish I could play all these instruments. And yeah, I think when you're doing a solo and when you've hit that, you've nailed that. Oh, that's good. It's the same thing as when you're singing. You've hit it.
Yeah.
You've nailed it.
Yeah.
You can see the audience go, "Wow, okay." Just such a buzz. I can't describe it exactly, but Jim's got pretty near it. It's a sense of euphoria. It's a sense of power as well. Yeah, it's kind of like a power thing.
And do you feel it's kind of? I get the out of body thing, but I'd imagine for a singer, you obviously know it's you. It's coming from your actual body. Is it like someone else is singing it?
No,
it's your soul, really. This is where we move into the metaphysical, which is a bloody huge word. I just saw that written on the bottom of
when
this.
you've had a Jack Daniels.
I just saw that written on the side of this table. You move. This your soul is where you move into a place where your soul is involved in the performance. So, there is a reason for the word soul. It's because it exists. If there was no such thing as soul, then there wouldn't be a word for it. That's fairly straightforward. That's my best bit of logic today. So when you move into an area where your soul is part of the performance, that's what the audience can recognise. So people can recognise this for Aretha Franklin. Now there would be people who can sing the notes Aretha Franklin can sing, but nobody can put the soul behind those notes other than Aretha in that way. And her soul communicates right out of the speakers into your soul, into your heart.
And it's what you've experienced as a person as well. I mean, I always say I'm a big Sinatra fan, and you have to reach a certain age, for instance, to sing My Way. You cannot sing My Way as a 20-year-old. You've got to go through it. And I've been through it. I've been up and down like a yo-yo, court cases, lost things, and I've been through it. And whenever I've read about Sinatra, and I've read a lot about him, his life was full of massive holes and euphoric things and pitfalls and real kind of tragic in a sense. And it's not until you can get to a certain age where you've experienced those things that you can convey a lyric such as My Way. And it can be very emotional. I mean, music is so emotional.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why,
Yeah.
when you watch a film, it's not necessarily, the acting can obviously convey masses of emotion, but when the music starts to come in and there's certain chords and notes that trigger things in your brain that can, the next minute you'll be in tears.
So when the music swells up, the emotion starts. So what about if you two were playing live on stage, you're belting out a great version of your favourite song, then Jim comes in with a blistering guitar solo, you come back in, would it be gushy to say, like, you've both become the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I suppose in a way.
You've arrived at the same destination. There's my route of getting to this place where I feel I've transcended my normal ability to something better than that. That's where I believe my soul is involved in the performance. I'm very fortunate in as much as I've understood this for a long time, that it isn't how fast I can play, it's the gift that I've no idea where this gift comes from. We can call it God, Muhammad, Buddha, whatever you like. But there seems to me that there are certain forces that are beyond your normal ability as a guitar player or as any kind of musician. And when you reach a certain point, you then communicate on a level that's slightly different from the just like music generated by a computer, for example, which can be great, can be really useful. It's got great sounds and great grooves, etc., but it doesn't actually have any human soul in it. And I think that part is an enormous part of why we make music. It's why I make music.
Have you ever woken up and worried you might not be able to play the guitar?
Every day.
Yeah. No,
I don't know how I know how to play the guitar. That's the interesting thing for me.
So the gift, where does the gift come from? You ever think I might lose it?
No, I don't. No, I don't think that. But the truth is, really, Alex, is I don't know how I know how to play the guitar. My hands do it. And my best work, I don't even know what key I'm in. Somebody says, here, Jim, this is a bit of music here, take a solo. And I'll take a solo and I won't really know what I'm going to do. It just comes out. Now, I don't know why that happens, but it does.
Does that sound weird to you, Tony, being a singer?
No, it doesn't actually sound weird for me, because I love singing. I've sung since I was a kid at school, at my Church of England school, Clerkenwell Parochial. And the thing is, if you were an arrogant musician, an arrogant singer, it's the worst thing you could possibly be, because I think what makes you good is self-doubt. I've got loads of self-doubt, and I'll be on stage and I'll know every time I've not quite hit something or whatever, like my brain's going, it's analysing everything all the time. Not in a horrible way, but I'm just aware I want to be better all the time. Now, if you are arrogant as a singer, musician, whatever, and you just rest on your laurels, you're never going to get any better. And the thing is, I always want to get better. I want to push myself. I want to push my voice, and I'm blessed to have fantastic musicians around me as well that will do that as well. I mean, Tim Bai, our drummer, he'll do stuff on the drums. I'm like, what? And I'm a frustrated drummer, and I'm like, how did he do that? It's just amazing.
It'll knock you out.
I'm like, Tim, that was amazing.
So,
it's great.
Tony, you've said that you're a frustrated musician. I am a frustrated musician and singer, because I'm a radio broadcaster, I'm a disc jockey.
Yeah.
I've never done what I would call the perfect show. I may have just hit the record on the vocal, and my timing was great, my pace was good, and I've done what I consider to be really, really good shows, but I've never done the perfect show. Have you ever had the perfect gig?
No. The perfect show is the next one that's coming along. That's the thing. Because even though you think, that was a brilliant show, we had such a great time, even though, we thought that as a band, it's the next show that you think, you know what, I didn't do that bit quite right in there. I wonder if we can get that a little bit better. And that's what it's all about. It's improving all the time. It's not just looking at the dots on the numbers and going through the motions. It's, you want to be brilliant every time. And you never feel you are. That's the problem.
But you are to the fans. What about you, Jim? Have you ever had the perfect gig?
No, I've had perfect moments. I can remember one time in the Rod Stewart group. This would be so long ago now. I can't even remember who was in the band, but it was a long time back. We were playing this tune, and it felt like the entire band was breathing, playing, and feeling this as one organism. And it felt like the band was starting to levitate off the stage. And I never take anything or do any drugs or anything like that before I play. Now I don't do anything at all. But this, I'm sober, and I could feel the band kind of lifting off the ground. It was an amazing moment. It was only on one song, and I'm looking at the other guys in the band. We're all looking at each other going, what's happening? This is extraordinary. And it lasted, whatever it was, 5 minutes of that song. And then the next songs were still going to be super professional and accurate and right, and there's not going to be any mistakes. But for that one song, we seemed to levitate. And you could feel us in the room. It was really bizarre. This is maybe 30 years ago.
You ever found
I can still remember it.
It's that synchronization thing, isn't it? Yeah. It just, everyone is so in the pocket.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, we were good, and you want to recreate that every time after time. I think the thing is that we still care about what we do. You do, Jim does, I do. I've been doing this a long time. We all have now, but I don't get bored with it. I love it, and I love a break. I love being with my family and going out to nice restaurants and everything else. I love all that side of things because I'm a bit of a foodie. We've got to get some food in this show.
We will get the food in. Rock and Roll Tom, will we do a podcast with some food in it?
Eventually, all in good time.
Okay, the producer says eventually.
But no, I love that side of things. But when you're on stage, it's one of the best moments. It really is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I remember when I was young and when I first started, I didn't even have the courage when I was 13, 14 to go in for the school play. I was so nervous. And I remember playing, I think it was the Pindar Wakefield at King's Cross, which was the Splash Club. I think it was 16. I was sick before I went on stage. I was that nervous. Yeah. And it's because you do care. You want to be good. You don't want to cock it up, And you get over those nerves and you control them over the years. But I'm nervous. I get the old butterflies every single time before I do a show. Every single time.
So do I. There's that anticipation.
Yeah.
You're not scared. You're kind of looking forward to it as well as being... I think when that goes, you're finished. I think you should wind it up at that point.
Well, I've never understood people who say, I'll never get nervous before I go on stage. I'm like, I don't get that. I just do not
hang
get
on
that
a minute.
at all.
I never get nervous before I go on stage. There could be 2,000 people out in the audience. I could be at a festival with 6,000 or 7,000 people out there, and I'm aware that maybe not everybody is a fan of mine, and the odd one could be shouting an obscenity which I can't hear, or they could be throwing a bottle.
Popular, eh?
But I never ever get nervous, and if I had the nerves, not that I'm doing anything as brilliant as you two, if I had the nerves, I couldn't do it. I couldn't enjoy it. The nerves would take over and ruin it for me. I have to be so super confident that I feel I can do it. So I don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, really?
Well, the nerves go as you step onto the stage and you sing the first song or play the first chord or so, and you're actually in a comfort zone there because this is kind of where you belong. But the anticipation beforehand is always there. I never take it for granted that it's going to work.
That's exactly the same as me because literally I'll be on the stage, on the side of the stage, ready to go on. Right, guys, you ready? Right, here we go. And it's like jumping off the back of a plane or something, you know. And as soon as I get to that mic stand, I've got my monitors there, I have one in ear, and all of a sudden we start playing the first few bars, and then as soon as I open my mouth, start to sing, it's gone. Yeah. And I'm in lovely La La Land. Yeah. It's wonderful.
Do you want that to last forever? When you're up there?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This whole flipping lockdown thing has proven to me and made me realise is that I never want to retire. And when I say I've done a lot of gardening, a lot of cleaning, a lot of housing, and it's been brilliant with the kids and Ali and the girls and stuff. But I couldn't retire.
No, I'm never
What
going to
about
either.
if the voice started to falter, though, Tone? I mean, your voice is great, but in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, if you couldn't quite hit the high notes, I know you don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Change key.
Yeah.
Change key.
Yeah.
With that discussion we had at lunch, Tony looks after his voice really well, very sensibly, takes care of it, and it will last him as long as he wants it to last. I mean, it's that simple.
Okay, Jim, what about for you? You can't quite play the notes as fast as you used to be able to. That may be on the horizon in the next 10 years. You might...
The only thing that would stop me would be if I had terrible arthritis or I've had some sort of accident. Fortunately, my hands and fingers work perfectly well. My brain is, of course, completely fried, what's left of it.
But that was
I'm
in the
Irish.
80s.
But I'm Irish, so some of it isn't you. Some of it is...
whole new
Being an
program.
Irishman, some of my brain hasn't been used.
Only you can say that, Jim.
Indeed, I can get away with it.
I have to say, if I look at, I saw Tony Bennett not too long ago at the Royal Albert Hall last year, and took my mum. In fact, me and my manager, his mum came along as well, and my mum had pictures with Tony Bennett, and it was like made up.
Yeah.
And that was a wonderful moment. I mean, Tony's now 92, 93, and he's obviously walking slow, but he still. He can still sing.
Yeah.
He still can it. Jack Jones, who I'm a big, massive fan of, and I know, and he's a lovely, lovely man. He can still sing beautifully, has such a velvet voice. Tom Jones, another great guy.
Yeah, he's got to be in his 80s, isn't he, Tom?
Nearly 80,
he's
I think.
nearly,
Late
yeah.
70s.
Late 70s. He can still absolutely,
Yeah,
he's
can sing,
still
yeah.
got that big voice. You know,
Sure.
yeah.
Tone, you're going to be all right. Actually, you mentioned all those people. I can
Yeah.
see you doing the Tony Bennett thing in your early 90s.
If I'm still here.
That's a, yeah. There is
If
always
I
that
get-
one, isn't there?
If I get that far, I mean, I don't intend to retire. And, you know, I just love singing. Singing's a great thing. It's been proven to make you feel good. It's good for your heart, good for your lungs, good for your brain and everything. I don't have to have autocue. I still can remember stuff. So it's good. And my eyes are good and my brain is all right, you know. So
And for you too, you're just going to keep on rocking, Jim, yeah?
Yeah, I have no intention. I don't see why I should. I mean, as long as anybody will bother to, get out of bed and come and see me and my band, I will be absolutely delighted. And I go off and play with other people or do, charity gigs. I love the whole thing, the whole prospect. I mean, with Kenny Jones a couple of years back, we would put on these big charity concerts at his polo ground. And, with all sorts of people. I played with The Who and I played with Jeff Beck and Midge Ure, we were talking about
Midge,
here,
yeah.
and the guys from the Moody Blues. I mean, just on and on and on. I was the co-musical director with Josh Phillips, who's the Hammond organ player in Procol Harum. He and I put the band together, and guys that played with Eric Clapton, a really super band of really hot musicians. How they let me on the stage, I have no idea. And you've got to learn 35 songs, and
Wow.
you have 3 days.
That's a lot of songs.
You have 3 days rehearsal, so you have that's
This
all you
is
get.
impressive, Jim. This is impressive.
Yeah.
What's going to ruin this is I've got to roll the credits.
I've got to tell you before we go.
Stop the credits. Stop the
I'm going to
credits.
start those credits. I've got to tell you before we go. When I was a young man, when I was in my 20s and stuff, I used to go, yeah, that Paul McCartney and that Keith Richards and that Mick Jagger should retire. They're all getting old. They're all getting too old. They should give up, the old rockers.
Yeah, give us
And then
youngsters
you
a
get
chance.
to 35, 40 and you realise why the old rockers never gave up. Because you just like it too much.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, round of applause for that thought.
Right, let's roll the credits.
Next time on Stars, Cars, Guitars.
Being married to a musician, we're incredibly selfish.
The great thing about being older is that you really can just let it all hang out. It doesn't matter.
There's a very thin line between rock and roll and crime.
Around the Angel Islington in the 1960s, I don't know, you would not have got through Islington
Yeah,
in an
hubcaps
e-bike.
off, wouldn't they? Yeah.
That would have had the lot.
Stars, Cars, Guitars was produced by Tom Stroud.